What if everything you've been told about this war is already outdated? Because just hours ago, Iran's Revolutionary Guard claimed it struck a major Israeli oil depot and 4 American military bases in one coordinated wave. This was not random. This was Wave 83 on day 28 of the war. And here's the part no one can fully explain yet. Iran says more waves are already coming. Just 27 days ago, the United States said Iran's missile capability would be neutralized within the first week. Israel claimed over 300 Iranian launchers had already been destroyed. U.S. commanders reported a 90% drop in launch rates. So how did Wave 83 even happen? Advanced multi-warhead ballistic missiles were used. Precision strikes targeted the very systems designed to intercept them. A $1.1 billion American radar system was damaged. And the Strait of Hormuz, a route for 20% of global oil, is now effectively shut down. On some days since the war began, 0 ships passed through. Let that sink in. 0. So the real question is not what happened. The real question is, how is Iran still breaking through the strongest defenses on Earth? Stay with me, because what comes next completely changes the picture. Wave 83 hit before dawn on Friday, March 27th, but it didn't come alone. It followed waves 81 and 82 within just 48 hours. And during a single 24-hour window, around wave 82, something massive happened. The so-called Axis of Resistance launched 230 operations. Hezbollah and Lebanon carried out 87. Iraqi factions executed 23. Iran itself conducted 110 missile and drone attacks. This is not random retaliation. This is synchronized warfare across multiple countries, running on the same clock. But here's the detail most reports ignored. Iran's regular army, the Artesh, is running a completely separate offensive. On March 26th, the Artesh launched a massive drone assault on Haifa port. They targeted naval construction facilities and jet fuel storage sites. And they did it to send a message. Iran's strike capability is not degraded. So when you hear Wave 83, understand this. That number only counts one part of Iran's military. The real number of attacks is much higher. And this matters, because what comes next isn't just about missiles. It's about whether any defense system can keep up. Now look at the weapons used in Wave 83. Solid fuel ballistic missiles, faster launch, harder to detect. Liquid fuel missiles, heavier payloads, longer range, multi-warhead systems, splitting midair into multiple targets. And then loitering drones. Drones that wait circling, watching for a gap, and only strike when defenses fail. This is no longer about quantity. This is about penetration. And now, the targets. Start with Ashdod, a key oil storage hub in southern Israel. Not the first time it's been hit. Earlier strikes already damaged refinery operations there. Then Haifa, Israel's largest refinery, responsible for up to 60% of domestic fuel. Officially, damage was called not significant, but footage showed massive black smoke for hours. So ask yourself, is this random or systematic? Because Iran is not just striking cities, it is dismantling energy infrastructure, piece by piece. Then comes Modi'in, a military zone between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, deep inside the country, not the border, the center, which means nowhere is truly out of reach. Now here's where things escalate even further. Wave 83 didn't just hit Israel, it hit American bases across the Gulf. Al Dhafra Air Base in the UAE was targeted. Satellite images confirm structural damage. Radar systems and communications arrays were hit. Iran says this base launched operations against its territory, so it became a priority target. Then Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, the largest U.S. military hub in the region, around 10,000 personnel stationed there. A ballistic missile struck and damaged a key early warning radar, a system worth $1.1 billion, built to track threats across 5,000 kilometers. One hit, and part of the defense backbone is compromised. In Kuwait, Ali Al Salem Air Base was struck. Drone swarms targeted aircraft shelters and control systems. Satellite images show damage to multiple structures. And earlier, a drone strike killed 6 American service members. In Bahrain, Iran hit Patriot missile defense systems. Not offensive targets, defensive ones. Think about that. Iran is targeting the shields, not just the swords. So what happens when the shield starts breaking? Because here's the contradiction no one can ignore. Officials said Iran lost up to 60% of its launchers. U.S. reports claimed attacks dropped by 90%. But intelligence later confirmed only about 1/3 of missiles were destroyed. And yet, Wave 83 still happened. The numbers don't match reality. Stay with me, because now we move beyond the battlefield into something even bigger. On March 26th, reports emerged that Iran mobilized over 1 million fighters. Recruitment centers flooded with volunteers. Officials called it unprecedented. At the same time, the U.S. prepared to deploy 3,000 troops and Marine units, a limited deployment, against a potential million-strong mobilization. That imbalance is dangerous. And now, the global impact begins. The Strait of Hormuz is nearly shut. Only a handful of ships passing per day, sometimes none. This route carries 20 million barrels of oil daily. Now, it's almost zero. Oil prices have surged over 40%. Some forecasts warn of $200 per barrel. Others predict a global recession. But it doesn't stop at oil. Sulfur supply, critical for fertilizers, is collapsing. Fertilizer prices are already up 30-40%. Food production could be next. Countries are reacting. Energy rationing, university closures, export bans. This is no longer a regional war. It's a global economic shockwave. And now, the most important question. The cost. A single Patriot interceptor costs up to $4 million, a THAAD interceptor, $11 million. An Iranian drone, as little as $20,000. For the cost of one interceptor, Iran can launch hundreds of drones. Read that again. This is not just war, it's economic imbalance, and that imbalance may decide everything. Diplomacy has failed so far, peace proposals rejected, conflicting statements from leadership within days, victory declared, then uncertainty, then escalation. And meanwhile, the missiles keep coming, the cycle continues. So here's the real question, not who is winning, but what does winning even mean? When neither side can define the end, and the attacks haven't stopped for 28 days straight, what do you think? Can Iran sustain this pace for another month? Does this end through diplomacy or pure exhaustion? Drop your opinion in the comments below, and if you want real uncensored updates like this, make sure to like the video, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel, because the next update might change everything again.